Hey everybody, it's your teacher. That's right. Pre-recording this not live session, and we're going to be looking at CS Academy. We're going to look at Unit 2, Functions, Mouse Events, and Property. So my goal in the next 30 to 40 minutes-ish is to make sure I cover each of these concepts. So we're going to take a look just a little bit at the exercises. I'm going to try to solve at least one exercise from each general area. And so in the first one, we're going to go ahead and let's just do the draw flower. So depending on the test case chosen, the number of the petal of the flower changes. Okay, so let's just go ahead and run it. And right now we just have a stem. And we'll look at the solution. And the solution, we can see there's a circle. Oh, there's even a little dot in the center. And but then there's these petals, which is clearly done by a straw, a star. I'm a little dyslexic this morning. Hold on just a second. Okay, so whenever you do these challenges, you see this command right here that says pass. And what you want to do is you always want to pass on the pass. Now, this is just like a placeholder. You want to just delete that right away. There's no reason to have that command pass. It's usually used as a placeholder in a function. Now, we have a function called draw flower. Now, this is called the function definition. And so the function definition just explains what we want to do. So draw flower, okay, and we have this parameter called points. Okay, the parameter is the input. It's the variable we use to capture input. So far we're not using it. Now, if you look on the test case, we're calling the function called draw flower, and it passes it, in this case, an argument. So when you're calling a function, you are basically passing it an argument. So the number 9 jumps into this variable called points, and now we can use points. Of course, if we do another, we don't have to do anything here. This is just testing purposes. In fact, if you start clicking some of these other ones, you'll notice suddenly that changes. 7 and 5, 10, 6. So it's just calling it using different numbers. And hopefully, by the time you're done doing all this, you'll understand that this is what makes functions so awesome, so powerful. So the first thing is we're going to draw a flower. So we're going to draw a star with the function parameter as the number of points. Then we're going to draw a circle on top of the star. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this. This is a comment I don't actually need. Place your code here. Nothing will go wrong if we delete that. I'm going to use this right here as my guideline for how I'm going to code this. And I'm going to kind of zoom in on this a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to draw a star. And so I'm pretty sure that's star. But just in case, let's just go look at the docs and right here. Okay, I should have done something differently. I should have right-clicked and opened on docs in a new tab. So we're just going to look for star. There it is. I'm pretty sure you just need, center, X and Y, radius, and points. So we don't know what the radius is, so we should probably, it doesn't say what the radius is supposed to be. We need to give an X and a Y. So let's comment this out for a moment. So I just don't like looking at that. And there's console. Console is kind of interesting. We might use that at some point. We go to the solution. And we're looking for the X and the Y, 200, 200. Well, that's pretty easy. Okay, so we're going to do 200, 200. That's our center. And then we want to know the radius and the star first. So the radius is going to be the greater of the two radii. So that would be 60. So we do 60. And now here's the key. See that variable called points? All right, we're going to use that variable in here. So here's the cool thing. If we do draw flower 9, we're going to send 9 to this variable. And so points will now be equal to 9. So when we write points in here, that's the same as the number 9. Now let's just go ahead and run it. And there's our star. Okay, we don't have the right color. So we're going to have to deal with color. All right. So yeah, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to go to the solution and I want to look at the gradient. It looks like it's magenta, dark violet, royal blue. Okay, so now we got to do the color, which is the fill equals gradient. By the way, I just looked up here because I was like, I don't remember how to do gradients, but there it is. All right. So I'm going to do gradient, and then we're going to do those colors. There were 3 in all. It was magenta, oops, comma, dark violet, oops, that should be in strings. I'm going to do something you might not expect. At this comma, I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to even tab it over just a little bit. Blank space gets ignored, okay, in the case of Python here. In this particular situation, we're right in the middle of this fill gradient. Dark violet, and the last one was royal blue. Right there. And then we need to set the start equals center. Okay, let's go ahead and run it now. All right, looks good. I think we're good on here. And so you see how it still works even though I hit enter and tab. I'm doing that mainly so we can see the code a little bit easier. So now we just got to draw a circle on top of the star. But let's just go ahead and see, are these parameters working? Let's run some other tests. Look at that. We're looking at my canvas. Draw flower 7, draw flower 5, draw flower 10, draw flower 6. See how that changes every single time? That's because every time you call this and you give it a different value in here, we get a different variation. So I'm going to say, remember we do the phrase that pays. I'm going to go ahead and for the phrase that pays, I'm going to define a couple terms. I'm actually going to give you a couple phrases right now. All right, so I'm going to define 2 terms, parameters, arguments, and then I'm going to give even a third. Yes, a third. This is like bonus day. All right, so hang tight. Let's get the phrase that pays. Okay, so here we go. Our first phrase that pays is that a parameter is a variable in the function header. All right, so in the example of define draw flower points, points is the parameter. Of course, what we do with that is that this parameter now can be used inside the function. However, you can't use it outside of the function. That parameter called points will cease to be when you're not inside the function definition. So let me give you an example of that. And we're going to go over to the code here, and we're going to try something. We're going to write print points. We're going to run it. And the console triggers an error. Points is not defined. Okay, that's because points exist inside of draw flower. However, inside here, let's go ahead and we'll do print points. We're going to run it again, and we get the number 6. Then we get an error. And here's why. Points exist inside of this code from line 7 to line, well, 16 is the last time there's any code here. Points exist. The moment we're done running this, it's gone. So one way to think about functions is that this is called a function definition. And this is basically like a little program that we've written. And we can run this program from inside of this whole draw flower down here. And so when we want to draw the flower, we can just call it like draw flower, and let's give it 3. And then we'll run it again. Now notice it doesn't crash when we add the 3 here, but you don't really see it. So let's draw a flower at 5 and draw a flower at 8. We'll run it again. And you can see how they're kind of offset. So it just goes to show you can call this as many times as you want. So calling a function is just like running a program when you're inside of your program. And this would be like the program you've written inside your program. So a lot of people refer to functions as being programs within programs or mini programs or whatever. There's different ways of doing it, but it's a wonderful way to solve a problem because, well, let's go look at my next phrase that pays. My next phrase that pays, actually I'm going to go jump down to number 3. Parameters allow our functions to be more dynamic. So now we can draw a flower, but each time we draw it, we can give it a different number of petals. So for example, we can now draw more flowers using the one function. And by the way, this is my notes. It's a comment on here. So if you want to ignore that comment and not put it on your phrase that pays, I am not going to complain about that. Let me do a quick check on my time here. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So so this is a comment. You can ignore it, but it's the idea if you can draw you can draw more flowers using the one function. Um, just give it different arguments. Actually, I'll get into that in just a moment. But it's the idea of you can draw more flowers using one function, but with each flower, we can set a different amount of petals. And that's where functions make it more dynamic. So all you need to do on the phrase that pays is get number 3, that parameters allow our functions to be more dynamic. If you need to freeze it and write it down, go for it. Do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and collapse it. And we're going to jump to number 2 in just a moment, but let's take a look at this. Right here, when we put this a number, we are basically sending what's called an argument. Okay, and an argument can be a literal value like the number 5 or the number 8, or we can give it a value like petals equals 11. I'm going to comment these two out. So we're going to do control slash. Oh, I love that. And then we're going to do draw flower. And this time we're going to send it the variable called petals. See that? I'm going to run it again. It still works. I can change this number to 19. We can run it again. We get lots and lots of points. We can set that to 4, run it again, and just get 4 points. So you see the idea here is that we can send a function, a variable, as long as that variable is going to make sense, right? If I said petals equals 4, guess what happens? Crash. The reason why is this parameter here is being used as a number, not as a string. Okay, so that's not going to work. So you do have to be careful, but it's a good idea. Let's do a nonagon. No, it's not really a nonagon, it's a star. It doesn't matter. Okay, we'll do it. There you go. All right, so we get all that stuff. Of course, we just have to click another test case and that all goes away, which is why they tell you not to write on here. This is testing purposes, which is what we just did. Now, that brings me to my second, but technically third phrase that pays. And that is an argument is the information we send when we call a function. For example, in drawflower 9, 9 is the argument we send. And we can change it each time we call it as long as it's the right data type. And of course, as you learned, we can send a variable as an argument. It doesn't have to be a hard-coded literal value like the number 9 or the number 5. It can be a variable. Okay, I think we're ready to move on. All right, so now we just need to draw. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. And now all we have to do is drag this down, and we're going to draw a circle on top of the star for the flower center. Okay, that's circle. We know it's 200, 200. The radius, I forgot, so we're going to go to the solution, is 20. And the circle has a yellow gold gradient. So I'm going to do fill equals gradient, and I think it was yellow, comma, gold. And let's run it. All right, let's check our code. Nice. All right, we did it. So now you learned about function definitions. You learned about parameters. We learned how the parameters can make things more interesting. So let's just go ahead and we're going to run it. Just click on different cases. Notice each time in fact, when I do this, what I want you to do is focus on how this code changes on each case. We send it 9, we get 9 petals. We send it 7, 7 petals. Send it 5, 5 petals. 10, you get the idea. Cool. All right, we're done. So that gives you a little bit about function basics, about running, testing, auto-grading functions. We solved one. Let's talk about multiple parameters, and I'm gonna solve. What do you think? Scoreboard, colorful name tag. Okay, I've had a lot of people ask about this one. They get stuck on this, so I'm gonna work on this one. And yes, you're all welcome. All right, so here we go. It's the name tag from Unit 1, which I don't remember. We're gonna add a function so we can change the name, the color of the name, and the color of the neck row. So the name, the color of the name, color of the neck rope. Okay. All right. So let's start coding. So that means we're going to basically have a function and we're going to send it 3 arguments. Okay. In name tag, we will send, this is number 4. Three parameters. All right, and what are they? Let's go ahead and do it, and then we'll come back to that. So let's start coding. Okay, I'm going to drag this down a little bit. All right, and I might have to zoom out just a bit. Sorry, folks. So the name tag function below draws a name, but it does not use the function parameters. Okay, so we already got the parameters in here, and it looks like, check it out, we got 4 parameters. So when I said 3 parameters, it's actually 4 parameters. What are they? Name, colors, 1 through 3. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. And all we have to do is learn how to use it. And then I'm going to give you another little hint, number 5. Okay, we only have to deal with the function definition of name tag. That's our 5th phrase that pays. Okay, so just remember that. We only have to deal with the function definition of name tags. The only thing we have to deal with. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, so well, now we have to figure out, fix your code here. Draws the blank name writing section. Okay, modify all the labels to use correct parameters. Okay, fix the name tag rope so it uses color 1 instead of red. Okay, so it tells you right here. I'm going to copy that. So we use color 1 instead of red, which means every time we see the word red, we replace it with color 1. So this is, we have to go through each of these. So if you read these instructions, don't ignore those comments. They were there for you. I've had a lot of students have so much trouble, and I realized this is not hard at all. They tell you what to do right here. All right, so that's number 6. Read the comments. Don't ignore them. All right. This is going to be my last one. Yeah. Or is it? So read the comments. Don't ignore them. Ignore them to your peril. That's right. They're there for you. And copy and paste is your pal. All right, great. We dealt with the red. Let's go ahead and run it. Look at that. Cool. All right. So we got the name. So we got the name tag rope. Draws the blank name writing section. That's okay. I don't think we have to worry about that. Modify all the labels to use the correct parameters. Well, if we see red anywhere, we know that's color 1, and I don't see it. All right, label, Python. That's one of the ones. That's the one called name. So I'm going to copy that, and we're going to paste that right there. And we're going to run it. All right, now let's just test a couple of these. So that's red with Python. The cell says panda using medium sea green. Why is that still there? And then it says owl with tan. Okay, so now we have to figure out what are other colors. Okay, so here's what I recommend. Now this is going to be a tricky one that for those of you that don't haven't worked with coding much before. But here's the hint. If you don't know which one to do, what you want to do is you want to look at the order of arguments. Okay, so this is where knowing the difference between a parameter and an argument can help. So if you know the order of the arguments, we can now replace it. So on the Python with lime green, okay, color 1 is going to be anywhere you see lime green. Okay, and color 2 is going to be anywhere you see yellow, and color 3 is going to be anywhere you see orange. And you're just going to have to replace them all. So we look for lime green. Now we shouldn't be able to find it up here. Oh, we do. Now let's just double check. Name, color 1. Yeah, lime green was color 1. Interesting. Okay, so this was the one that had the red, orange, yellow. Color 1. Oh, we still have a lime green here. Okay, so we're going to ignore this because I don't want to, I think we don't want to mess with that. So this is one where I had to be a little bit more, pay a little more attention. Okay, so we're looking for red, and apparently we don't need to draw anything here. It doesn't say we have to change anything, and here it says modify all the labels to use the correct parameters. Okay, that being said, now we'll replace red with color 1. Do we see red anywhere in here? No. Okay, how about orange? Ah, there's orange. So that right there is color 2. Do we see orange again? No. Yellow is the next one. That's going to be color 3. And we're going to run it. And we're going to click on a couple different ones. They look good. Let's click check code. Nice effort. Fill should not be gradient. Lime green, orange, yellow, start top. Oh, we missed a lime green right there. That's color 1. Now we'll check code. Run your code. Okay, fine. Not quite. Fill should not be gradient. Lime green, orange, yellow. Okay, so where is that? Orange, yellow, yellow, orange. Fill should not be which fill? They're showing us this, the lime green, orange. So this is a rectangle. Orange. Orange is color 3. So we do need to change that. Yellow is color 2. Lime green is color 1. So I guess we do need to change that. Now let's try running it again. Now we'll check code. Almost. Fill should not be gradient. Okay, fill of Python. Well, wow, what do you know? Let's try changing this to color 2 and color 3. Maybe I was wrong on there. Run it. Check it. Lime green, orange, yellow, lime green, purple. It's also that big rectangle. Did I miss a color? Yellow, orange, lime green, purple. Okay, so it should not be that. But the solution is red, orange, yellow. Okay. Red, orange, yellow, lime green. Okay, so this is what we need to do. Go through each of these. Red, orange, yellow, lime green. Red, orange, yellow, lime green. Oh. Are they all the same? Red, orange, yellow, lime green. Okay. Okay. Here's the problem. That's not the name tag rope. That was my issue. So I was trying to insert variables, or actually, technically, I was trying to insert parameters where these needed to just be hard code values. It was the name tag rope. So which one was the name tag rope? That was just the line. That was all it was, not the rectangle. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to put that last phrase that praise. Nah, I won't. I got 6. I think we're good. Okay, so go back to the lessons and see how much time I've got left. So I've been going 31 minutes. I ran low on time here. I wish I had more time to go further. I didn't get to mouse events or properties. Maybe that'll be something I do next week. I'm going to go maybe we'll do one more. Let's go ahead and do mouse events. And let's just take a look at shiny lines, cross stitch, plaid maker. Let me go back one. Let's do flower vase. Plant flowers in the vase. Click anywhere in the canvas. Notice how our flower is drawn where you just clicked. Notice how the flower is drawn using 3 shapes. It also has a stem connecting the flower to the top of the base. Okay, so here's a way to sort of break down this problem and figure out how to do this. The way to break it down is to think about what is the same every time you click and what is different. Okay, let's do a reset. Okay, so notice the vase doesn't change. When I click, the only thing that changes is this green line going to where I click. Okay, the flower petals and everything else are the same. So it looks like all we need to do is, based on the mouse click, draw the shape at the location where we click, but also create a line that begins always at the same point and goes out to where we click. So really, we just need the X and Y position to draw the flower and to draw the stem, and that's it. That's how we're doing it. So we're going to go ahead and start coding on here. Now, so we're going to make use of all the other stuff here. We're not going to change anything that already works. And it's basically this on mouse press. Now, the first thing you'll notice is there's no calling of a function, even when I click on different test cases. All right. So the whole point here, and let's go to my canvas, is let's just click, 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 click. Nothing happens, right? Even when we run it, click, click, click. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the pass. And there's my timer. Let me pause. Okay, so we have our parameters, mouse X, mouse Y. So now we have to draw a flower. Do we have a flower function? No. But we're going to have to draw a flower. So we're going to use, how do we draw a flower? So let's click on here and then we'll hover. Can I just pause this? Or do I have to click on one of these test cases? Let's just click a check code. We'll go to solution. Okay, so on the solution, does it let me know? Hover and inspect. Control. Oh, okay. I have to hold down control and hover. Okay. So we've got some color, a lime green and a different color, hot pink. And we have a line width, a radius. We've got a lot of things going on here. Looks like we have a star with a roundness and points and a gradient of orange yellow. That's the inside gradient. The star must be the hot pink color. So here's the thing. We're hovering over basically 3 items, a line, a circle, and a star. Okay, so let's deal with the star first because that gets drawn at the bottom. So I'm going to put on here, draw star. And then we're going to draw circle of flower. And then we're going to draw the line. I'm going to go from origin, which is, I'm just going to refer to where that starts, to mouse X and Y. Okay, so we want to draw a star. So star. Now, where are we going to draw it? We're going to draw it where we click the mouse X and mouse Y. So when we press the mouse, we have these 2 variables. So I'm just going to copy those, right? Those are 2 parameters. So now all we need now is use the inspector. Sorry about that, little comma there, comma error. Hold down Control, and we got to do the radius, which is going to be the greater of the 2. That's going to be the 20. We need the points, which is going to be 6. And then we're going to have to set the roundness. Let's check the docs for roundness. Roundness equals. And because these are all have little equal signs here, we can do them in any order, I believe, as long as we set roundness equals. So we go back here. And the roundness, dang. Oh, I just gotta run it. Hold down Control. Roundness is 70. Fill equals, we'll do single quotes, hot pink. Let's go ahead and run it. Cool. So we got the star working. I like it. Let's draw our circle. Now this is nice. We just use the mouse X, mouse Y. This radius is 8. Fill equals, and that's the gradient. Orange, yellow. Now, I'm going to put something else out here that I think you might find helpful. Did you know when we put this gradient right here, that's a function call, just like when we're calling draw flower. So that's definitely something for you to know. All right, let's go ahead and run it. That looks good. So now all I have to do is draw the line. So we'll go to the solution, and now let's hover over our line. It looks like it's at 200, 300 lime green, and a line width of 5. And then so 200, comma 300, and then we're going to do the mouse X, mouse Y, and let's just run it. All right, so we see we're getting the line. So we click on solution, and we need a color of lime green, a line width of 5. And let's go look at lines. Line and arrow. Fill equals line width. That's all we really need now. We're almost there. Oh, fill equals, so I say lime green. Line width equals 5, I believe it was. Run it. Oh, the line should be drawn before anything else, so it's underneath it all. So we're going to cut that. Hit enter. We're going to paste. Hit enter. We're going to run it. And we're going to check code. Did it. Okay. So it was just a matter of drawing each one and figuring out what we were supposed to draw, and then just using the mouse X and mouse Y. You can see each one on the line. We put it here. It was the second point of our line, and for the star, we probably could have done it in either order. We could have separated. We could have done mouse X, mouse Y, then 200, 300. We didn't, and it still worked. Drawing the star, that's the position, and that's all we had to do. Everything else was just a matter of looking at the solution. The final thing, though, is that when we run it, when we click, don't forget to hold down Control so you can get the inspector to inspect the various objects. All right, thank you so much for watching. This is all we have time for today. I hope it was very informative. Stay tuned for more presentations. I am not done with this unit and future units. So, again, stay tuned for watching. Thank you so much. Take care now and wash those hands.